Hello and welcome back to Taking Back Saturday, a Happy Buyers Club podcast where we break down the real estate market each and every Friday to help home buyers build confidence, follow a process and hopefully buy really happy. I'm your host, Chase Jones, and joining me today, the king of 1.5 speed podcast listening, it is my mate Sam Hunter. How are you, friend?
Good morning, Chase. We are off the back of taking our children to their first ever rugby league game at Suncorp Stadium. I would say the kids at the footy was a resounding success. The footy itself was average at best.
Yeah, you've done nothing to retain their attention. Brisbane Broncos, thankfully their parents are devout to the cause because we'll be back again.
We grew up being bad losers. These kids are going to grow up with character.
Yeah, resilience.
Absolutely.
All right, today's podcast, we are going to cover off on a big frustration for a lot of buyers, I would imagine, because it's a frustration that, even we felt in times.
For sure.
And it's with regards to hidden price ranges. Just spoiler alert, even as buyers agents, we still use real estate portals to find properties as well. We are, on realestate.com.au and domain every other day. But there is some stuff that happens sort of behind the scenes with when you're seeing properties and why that we're going to cover off on today. Because I think it's something that a lot of people do get a bit shitty about.
For sure. Not seeing a price on a property is frustrating.
No doubt.
But when you are seeing properties online with no price that potentially you cannot even afford, it's really easy to see why that is even more frustrating.
It's definitely a different frustration.
For sure. You jump on realestate.com every night, or you get that email at like 6:15 every night when you just think your day's over and you're bathing your children and it's like new property for sale, and you've set your saved search up to be Holland Park 1.6 to 1.9 or whatever it is, and you're seeing things in there that you can't afford. Right? Well, eventually you figure out that you can't afford them and you wonder why. And a lot of the time people are blaming the real estate agents. And I think there is a role for agents to play in clarity on pricing for sure. But there's a case to answer for the way that realestate.com particularly, that is the major portal that most people will use to find properties on the market here in Brisbane. Same thing happens on Domain. But certainly realestate.com is what we're going to be talking about now. If you are looking for that property in Holland Park, or you are looking for that property in Newmarket, and you want to spend $1.6 million, right? You will see anything from $1.5 to $2 million. It won't have a price on it, and you won't know whether you can afford it or not till probably offers close, or it goes to auction, or you didn't go and see it and it has a sale price on it, and you go, why did I have a look at that anyway?
No doubt. And that's the thing, firstly, understanding why this is happening and then working out ways in which you can use that information and your knowledge of how those back ends work to then, take the appropriate steps moving forward is the key here. Yes, it's frustrating. No, it's not going to change. So the thing is understanding that in the back end, when an agent does list a property, they are listing a back end price.
For sure. And it's a single price.
What that does is that then dictates what band that the eyeballs are for that property, and those bands are big.
For sure. Let's use that as an example. Let's say that the agent wants to sell a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, maybe a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in Holland Park or Newmarket, or the equivalent north, south, east, west suburb, middle market, sort of family home, nothing too flash. I know it sounds like an exorbitant amount of money, and it is, but that is the reality of the real estate market that we find ourselves in now. They put that price at 1.6. Realestate.com shows 1.5 to $2 million, right? And you're looking at that, and let's say that you've got 1.9 to spend. You're looking at something that you probably won't settle for. And realistically, if you're looking in the 1.3s and you've got your search up to 1.5 just in case, you're going to see that property and go, oh, wow, maybe I should go and have a look at that. And so much time is wasted, and there's so much frustration in the market because of how big these bands are, coupled with not putting a price on a property. We just thought it was worth talking about so that you can get a sense for how, and I don't like to say that real estate's ever a game, but probably to realestate.com.au it is a little bit, right? Because they raise their prices sometimes more than once a year based on the number of eyeballs looking at a property. If you've ever seen a real estate agent's marketing video, they'll tell you how many views and impressions they had online. It's because in a lot of cases, there's a $500,000 range.
And people are just confused.
100%.
It's actually the flip of that that's the frustration that we probably see more often. It's the property that's been back-ended at 1.8, 1.9, and someone that has 1.5, 1.6 to spend is seeing that property that's 1.8, 1.9 being like, wow, that is flash.
For sure.
That is nice. I'm seeing that in my search. We've got to check that out. Absolutely. And we will run it to ground like we do. That is our job. And that is what the responsibility of the buyer is here, is to actually run it to ground. Not just assume that because it came up in your saved searches that
you can afford it.
Must be one for me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think let's go on a bat for agents here. You go to that open home, and if it's price by negotiation, they might give you a rough guide. They might give you a list of comparable sales. And you'll see that they're all 1.8 to 1.9. And the immediate response is like, why am I here? What a waste of time. Well, there's ways in which you can go about to, one, understand that hidden range, but two, mitigate the time wasting of an open home. And I think it's probably the very small percentage of super average real estate agents that have caused the vast majority of buyers to not want to pick up the telephone early. And I'm going to say this now, and I hopefully will remember to say it again at the end of the show. You waste way less time making a phone call than you do going to an open home.
100%.
That is like the rule that we live our business by, I reckon. And if I can encourage everybody, the way around the frustration of no price marketing and big price ranges on realestate.com.au is telephone calls and speaking to real estate agents and getting a sense. The good ones will help you. The bad ones just won't answer their phone.
They want the right buyers coming to their properties.
100%.
They don't want buyers coming there and stamping their feet and being like, why am I here? They would rather like qualified, good buyers that have the right money to spend for the right properties are coming through those doors. And they are happy to answer the questions in advance.
For sure.
For the most part.
Compare that to realestate.com, who just wants as many people looking at their website as possible so they can keep charging more
Add
people.
it to your calendar. Yes,
That's it. 15 years ago, it was like $750 to go on realestate.com. Now it's like $5,500. Right? That is because they say, look at how many people are going to look at your listing. How many irrelevant people who are wasting time looking at your listing because there's such a big price range in the back end that the agent and the seller have no control over.
Nice. So let's cover off on identifying what the hidden marketing range is for a property first. Let's do that.
Right.
Because that is something that you can do from the comfort of your laptop.
From your laptop. And that's the painful thing. We all spend a lot of time thumbing our way through realestate.com.au. But if you do want to see the code, for lack of a better way of describing it, you do have to use a laptop or a desktop, whatever it might be. It's something you can probably work into your process for the last 15 minutes at work every day when you're not really paying attention anyway. So you figure out the house that you want to know more about on a laptop, on a proper computer screen.
It's a serious job. It's like, renewing your, passport, booking flights, checking the back end range on realestate.com. That's
sure.
Serious business. Laptop job.
My rule in our household and our families, if it costs more than $1,000, it is a laptop job. Right?
Real estate falls into that category.
I've never booked an international flight on a phone, but I'll go to Sydney on a phone.
Oh, no, undo. How do I do that?
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay, so we've got the listing up. Actually, the proper listing page, not just the search page. You're actually in the property with its appropriate links and agent details, key stat details, and you want to find the back end range.
For sure. So you can click anywhere. You can right click anywhere on that page. Scroll down the little list that it provides you, and it will say View Page Source. You want to click View Page Source. It's going to open up a new tab. For the most part, it's going to be a load of code behind the screen. Depending on whether you're using a PC or a Mac, you want to Control F or Apple F, find, and you want to type in the word marketing. When you type in the word marketing, it'll probably give you maybe 6 different options. You just want to kind of find until you find the result that says marketing price range. Those words will be highlighted on the screen, or marketing will be highlighted on the screen, then underscore, then price, then underscore, then range. This is where you'll see that hidden band. And this is where you'll start to get a sense for where's the back end price? Like, where has that agent priced it? So it's 1 to 1.5 or 1.5 to 2, then their back end price is going to be somewhere between those numbers. It could actually be those numbers. And if it is, let's use $2 million as an example. If they've back ended it in their end, that single price is $2 million, it will appear in both 1 to 1.5 and 2 to 2.5. Usually it's the lower range. Which is why a lot of agents most of the time will price it a little bit over that border, just to make sure that they're being seen by ideally the right buyers.
This boils down to you as a buyer just being like, okay, now I understand why I'm seeing this.
For sure.
And for some, properties, it might be a chance to be like, okay, that is not the band that I'm looking to purchase within. That's, I might still make the phone call, but realistically, that's, $200,000 over my budget.
For sure.
At the start point of where this band is. Little to say, it's probably going to go beyond where the start of that band is. So, like I said, right click, view source. You can go, actually, if you're using Google Chrome, up to the top bar, view developer, view source as well as another way to get to this back end code. It's an absolute mess of numbers and words and all the rest of it. But yeah, search marketing, and you've got the ability to see what that range is. There is also a shortcut for this, where if you want to download an extension for Chrome, in this case, called Real Estate Mate. That's the one we use. There are others, but it is a widget that will then appear every time you open a listing page, and it shows you the band in a nice, pretty, easy to read sort of
2 to 2.5. 1.5 to 2. It's usually $500,000 is the range,
unless it's sub-million.
Sub-million, and then it's only 5 million plus is what realestate.com allows you to do, which again is not helpful for anyone buying in that super prime market. I reckon if you are, you're probably not listening to this show.
That's it. Now we understand why I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We recognize what that band is. That's maybe a little note that you make on that particular property. But it is not the be all end all. Just because it's been back-ended there, just because that's where the agent maybe has intended those eyeballs to be, doesn't speak to what it's going to sell for.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what's the next step?
Pick up the phone.
That's right. We're calling the agent, and we're going to ask them about everything that we want to know about that property.
For sure. Hey, it's banded 1.5 to 2. Like, where is it in the middle of that?
And they're like, "Oh, look at this guy with his information. Look at this flash guy that knows how to operate a laptop machine." But that's right. Like, we can talk about, what are the expectations on pricing? What are some comparable sales? How does it compare to 123 Smith Street that sold 2 weeks ago? Those questions are the actual crux of where you're going to get the real details.
And it's like, do you have a list of comparables? Most of the good agents will, and you'll say, are they all within that range? So use the hidden band that you now know about that maybe some other buyers don't, to get better answers from the questions that you're asking. Because then if they send you that list and they're outside that range, you can ask the same question again. Hey, you said they were in it. These 2 of the 4 you've given me aren't. Why? And I bet you the 2 that they've given you will either be way above or way below.
Yeah. I mean, we started the very top of this show saying this is a big buyer frustration, but I guarantee you this is also an agent frustration as well.
Definitely.
They want the right buyers coming through their open homes. They want you to pick up the phone, and they want to be able to speak to the information that they have at hand to get the best possible result for their vendor, but to also help buyers along the way. They're not there to piss off every buyer in the market and then sell it to the one that was the least pissed off at the end. They want to have a pool of buyers that had all the right information to make great decisions, get the best possible result for their vendor, and then roll these buyers over to the next property. That's what they're trying to do. And the only way that's going to happen is with good communication and good information.
For sure. And this gives you a way that you can control that information and then actually take the right next step to have better communication, to position yourself as the most informed, the most active, the most proactive buyer. And like I said earlier, I'm glad I'm remembering to say it now, that phone call wastes way less time. Even if it's not the one for you, it is wasting way less time than jumping in the car, going to an open home on a Saturday, having this conversation in person, being disappointed, jumping back in the car and going somewhere else to probably have the same disappointment again.
Guess what? And while you're on the phone and you do find out that maybe it is beyond you, what a great time to ask, hey, have you got anything similar coming up that maybe is in my price point?
I'll send you a text. These are the ones that I'm comparing it to. Listen out for something for me in the future.
And that agent's just like, geez, that person must listen to Taking Back Saturday. On that note, he's Sam, I'm Chase. Cue the song.